Alright, so first things first, before we work on our actual project, I would like to help you build some understanding of the plugin and how to use it. So I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can find the plugin on Fab and buy it. Runtime data table, if you open Fab, you can search it or click the link by Jared Theriaul. Sorry. So click it, buy it, and then add this to your Unreal Engine version once you do. And it supports from Unreal Engine 4, then 5 to 5.7, which is great. Whatever version you're using, I hope you can follow along with no problem. Once you install it to the engine, go to Edit, Plugins, and here you want to type Runtime Data Table. Enable this, restart your engine, and you should be good. Now, if you want to go beyond this tutorial, you can open the documentation and read it. I highly recommend that. For now, let's keep things simple and let's start using the plugin. Alright, so I've created a very simple spreadsheet that we can use to use the plugin. You can put anything you want. I've added the following: key, name, price, quantity, item A, item B, apple, banana, price, and so on. So very basic spreadsheet just to test the communication with Google Spreadsheet. So that's step number one. Step number two, we want to create some actors. So let me locate our level here and I'm going to, let's say I'm going to create a new folder on the root and I'm going to call it RDT, and maybe we can add tests so we can remove this later, and let's create the following. So the first thing we want to do is to create a structure, and let's search for blueprint structure, create that structure, and let's call it something like F structure test item. Okay, and let's open that. Now, in terms of variables in our structure, we need three items. We need name, price, and quantity. So the name, let's add two more variables, price and quantity. Okay, the name will be name, the price will be a float, and the quantity, let's also make it a float, but it can be an integer. However, an integer, we need numbers. Yeah, let's make it an integer. Why not? So that's step number one. Let's save this structure and let's add it here so we can refer to it in a moment. What I'm going to do is to create a manager blueprint that is going to fetch data from Google. So I'm going to go to blueprint class, and I'm going to click on an actor so we can place this in our level, and I'm going to call it something like blueprint RDT real-time data table Google test. Okay, let's open this, and in the event graph, let's keep just event begin play because we want on event begin play to get the data and print it as a print string to see what data we have. And for this blueprint, let's create two variables. The first variables, it will be an array of our data structure. So let's click on the name and let's call it items, for example, and let's find our data structure. So we called it test items, and let's set this to be an array. And for the second variable, let's say something like sheet URL, and this can be a name. Okay, and we can go to our Google Sheet, click on share, let's give it a name, so let's call it test items UE, click on save, and we want to set the access from restricted to anyone with link, and we can keep it at viewer. Now later we will change this to be restricted and share it with a specific email that we will get from Google Cloud for security purposes if you don't want for this to be a public sheet. So we're gonna take things step by step. This is much easier for now, so let's go with this. Click on copy link and let's paste the link here. Okay, of course you can paste the link in a function that we can see later, but it's also nice to have the link in a variable. It's just more organized. All right, now we have the plugin enabled, so let's simply click and drag from event begin play, and let's search for build Google Sheet download link and get as CSV, and you can see this is under runtime data table. Click here and we have the following. First, we have in token info. This is for private sheets only, so let's ignore this. We have call on complete. This is a custom event we're gonna make in a moment. In sheet URL, so I've created this is a string, this is a name, so let's set this to a string instead, my bad, and let's simply do this like so, or you can paste the link here, but this is also nicer. If this sheet is public, which is what it is for now, let's enable this. Okay, that's step number one. Step number two, we want to call on complete, so click like so, and let's add event, and let's add custom event, and let's say something like download finished, for example. So this is on complete, this will work. Okay, so from here we want to create a branch, so click and drag and press on B to create a branch, and from the callback information, this structure here, click and drag and click on break runtime data table callback info, and we can start with was successful. So when the download is not successful, we don't want to run anything, but only if it's successful we want to print or to see or to update our data tables. So that's That's step number 1, or maybe step number 2, depending on what we've done earlier, but you know what I mean. So the next node we need is called make CSV information from string, okay? And this is under easy CSV. So the plugin we purchased is multiple plugins in one. It has the data table stuff and easy CSV. So let's type make CSV from string and let's connect this to true. And in this string, we want to connect the response as string to our node here. And this will give us out CSV information. And this is another boolean that we can use for branch if we need to, but in this case, one branch should be enough. Or we can have another branch just to be safe. Okay, so just in case the response as string was false or something is wrong, then this will not execute. So branch, it's always nice to have, no problem. Now we need another node. It's called update array from CSV info, and that's why we've created this array. But later, once we get into our system, we will not do this. This is just for testing and learning purposes. So just keep that in mind. Now, what I'm showing you here is because maybe you want to have custom solutions or learn more. So as I said, we're starting from the basics. So I'm going to right click and I will type update array from CSV information, click and connect this to true like so. And the CSV information, we can connect this here like so. And the array to update is our items array like so. Okay, that's it. Now to know if this is working or not, what we can do is to print a string. So let's get the items array and let's click and drag from here and press F to create for each loop. And from the loop body, let's type print string, and in the print string here, let's click and drag or the in string and type append, and let's add multiple inputs here, and let's click and drag from the array element and let's break the test items. We have the name, price, and quantity. So let's type name and then connect the name here, and let's type next price and connect price next, and let's type quantity, so quantity, and let's connect that. Okay, now just for organization purposes, what I'd like to add as well, so let's say price, I'm going to press shift and add like this column, and then the same for quantity like so, to keep them slightly separated, and perhaps we can add a column to see the number after it. This is just for organization purposes. All right, then let's click on compile and let's go to our level here, click and drag this asset we've created and click on play. So it looks like we got an error. Let me quickly see why is that. Okay, because so after looking what's happening, apparently somehow for some reason I didn't save my URL as intended. So oopsie, I'm going to bring the URL. So let's go here and let's click on share and copy the link, and let's paste the link here and make sure you press enter, compile and save. Okay, now let's hope this will work with no problem. And yeah, it does work with no problem. So let's quickly make this last longer, let's say 10 seconds, and let's now click on play. As you can see, name, banana, price, quantity, and so on. This is amazing. So later you can, for example, have some sort of input action or whatever to update the values. For now, let's keep it very simple. So let's go to the class default here. For testing purposes, enable input on this blueprint. This is something I don't do usually, it's just for testing purposes. Okay, so let's set the auto receive input to player 0, and let's say I keyboard is the button we want to use. Let's say B. Okay, so I'm going to connect this here and I'm going to compile and I'm going to click on play, and let's bring our data table here. You can see the quantity is 20 and 10, so let's set it to 50 and 100, and let's say the price is 150, and here let's say it's 40, and let's say maybe we can add another item. So let's say hello, or actually let's say keyboard. Okay, why not? Apple, banana, and keyboard, and let's say 50. Now if I press B on my keyboard, you will see that we have a new entry in our list. So if you want to create more and more items, yeah, it printed all of them, so that's good. However, ideally for the key, because it's considered like the raw name, you should not have them similar like this, so they should be unique from each other like so. This is better if you ask me. Okay, so now click on play. You can see that it printed everything, and you can update the values to whatever you want or reduce them. So let's say this will be mouse, and let's click on play, and you can see apple, banana, keyboard, apple. Okay, where is the mouse? So let's go back here. When you edit something, you should click away from it. Okay, and now you can see that it updated in the print string. Alright then, that's it for the basics on how to use the plugin. You can read the documentation and discover in the next part of this lesson lesson, we are going to edit our template and our data tables and so on, so we can have lovely points of interest that we can update from our data table. Okay, let's keep going.